This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Friday, January the 29th, race number 8 at Oaklawn Park. Let's throw up the field for a non-winners of 3 life allowance featuring some pretty intriguing runners, some with recent big figures, some coming off layoffs after facing top competition, and some horses with graded stakes credentials of their own. It's kind of an interesting race, Mike.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, I'm not going to argue with the number 6, The Sound, being a relatively clear-cut favorite on the line, Dan, because that horse is exiting a fast race for a top trainer. But this race is pretty tough for a 1X, or for a race like this anyway. I feel like he's going to have to be as advertised maybe to come out on top here.
He does have speed, as you mentioned, and we'll take a look at the Timeform U.S. pace projector. And the 6, The Sound, is expected to make the early lead over horses like the 3, Mimosa, who's fast, and the 1, Make Noise, who's pretty fast. The Sound, as you mentioned, earned a very fast Beyer speed figure in his most recent race, going 1 turn for Brad Cox. Now he has to stretch out around 2 turn. He does have the pedigree. He is a full brother to a horse that won the Awesome Again, a grade 1 at 9 furlongs.
Correct. He has the pedigree and he has the speed, and he's got the fast race. All those things add up to him being a short price in here for Brad Cox. So we'll see what happens. He's going to try 2 turns for the first time here.
Make Noise, the number 1, and the old DRF sweep comments would be upgrade if wet. He's 0 for 18 lifetime on a fast main track. He's 2 for 5 on wet going. Showed some speed last time out at Churchill Downs, backed up pretty badly. He has good positional speed. The inside post, he will be close to the pace.
He should be. He is maybe a little bit more proficient on wet tracks, but his top Beyer speed figure of his career came 2 back over this distance on a fast track, Dan. So he can handle it. That was against 40 claimers. This is a tougher race.
The number 2 Muralist, this new trainer, has only had him for a short amount of time. They purchased him for $100,000 earlier this month. And this horse has run some okay races going at much longer distances on the dirt. They tried 2 miles in the Allen Jerkins, but he actually ran some decent performances against much weaker company in California going middle distances. So maybe this will be his whole card down the road.
Yeah, I can see him being competitive in this race. He's another horse who has some pretty good tactical speed, too. So you get a good trip in this race. He went back-to-back routing on dirt last summer. And then since then, his only dirt starts have come in graded stakes races going way longer than this.
And he faced some long-distance specialists in those races, especially that Keeneland Thoroughbred Aftercare and Alliance. And Dak Daniels surprised when he came back to run 3rd in the Claiming Crown Jewel with a 93 Beyer. Mimosa's up next. Mimosa's got a lot of speed. Mimosa has a little bit of back class as well. He was 2nd in the Oklahoma Derby. Then they stepped him way up in class in the Fayette. Part of a solid pace against much better horses. His last 2 races, I think the Sonneman race is a little bit underrated because that's a pretty nice horse. And last time out, I'm just going to say he hated a sloppy track.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always easy to do that, but I think I might give him that excuse as well, because that's really the only time he hasn't shown up on the racetrack. I agree with you. I thought his race 2 back may be better than it looks. And if he can get past the Fayette, and I can give him a pass for that race against some good older horses. I mean, that 1X win at Ellis Park, I know he got loose on the lead that day, Dan, but he ran well there, and that was a fast race. And his Oklahoma Derby, to me, that was a good performance there. He didn't break great in there. He made an early move. I thought he ran well that day.
Dean Martini, I think, has a big chance stretching back out for trainer Tom Amos. This horse, of course, pulled off an upset with a beautiful trip and ride in the Grade 3 Ohio Derby, going 1 mile and 1/8. After that, he was put in some tough spots. He finished behind Mimosa in the Oklahoma Derby. They've had him going 1 turn in his last 3 races. I thought he ran okay over sloppy going last time out at the fairgrounds. It was a short field. A sharp speed horse made the front. Dean Martini was at least running on a little bit at the end of that race. I think stretching out is going to be key for him. He's a contender for me.
I think he's a contender as well. He does have that one really fast race, that Ohio Derby, where he just got a great ride to get the job done. I've been sort of underwhelmed with him since then, Dan. It does feel like the 2 wet tracks recently, though, have helped him a little bit.
The number 5, What a Country, 80s comic Yakov Smirnov's favorite horse, is returning off a little bit of a layoff for Gary Hartledge. Slow race last time out, but slow pace might have hurt him. That was the same Sonneman Mimosa race. He tried to rally from the back of the pack and just didn't get into it. Prior 2 races were fast. He likes 2 turns.
Yeah, he's got some figures that are going to put him close, I guess, Dan, and he's still lightly raced enough to hold out some hope for. I think he does have to improve, though.
Here's the likely favorite in the race, the number 6, The Sound. We talked about some of the good things for The Sound. He's trained by Brad Cox, and we have a formulator fact for Brad Cox regarding The Sound. Past 3 years, horses aged 4 and up, winner last out in dirt routes, coming off a little break. 4 for 8, 257 return on investment. So, okay, he has the great Brad Cox in his corner. He's coming off a 104 buyer speed figure win. Now let's talk about a little bit of the negatives as we watch him sprint on home from his most recent start. He got absolutely loose on the lead in this race, and this field has come back to be lousy. 4 next out runners, none have cracked the top 3 with a best buyer of 79.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is something that you at least want to consider with this horse. Not only did he break his maiden 2 starts back in another race where he just got absolutely loose on the lead over a wet track, but in this race, and I don't really want to knock him down, he ran pretty well in here. But as you were alluding to, it wasn't a good field. I mean, the horse that ran second in there, Adair, who still does have, I will say, still has a chance to be pretty good, and he was the favorite in that race. He just got a terrible ride in that race. I don't know what Kendrick Carmouche was doing early in there. I guess because he broke from the rail, he didn't want to be inside. So he just took the horse right out of the race early and just sort of handed that thing to The Sound in there. So I felt like this horse took advantage a little bit en route to the fast race. Doesn't mean he's not any good. Doesn't mean he won't win here. I wonder how short a price I'd want to take on him, though.
I think the 7 Great Faces is a little bit underrated as an Oklahoma bred shipping back to Oaklawn Park. Let's watch his most recent performance against fellow Oklahoma breds. His last start as a 2-year-old. This was in the Jim Thorpe Stakes, and we see him splitting horses right now. He's going to be outfinished for the win, but he'll get it for second. It was a useful performance, and it was nice to see that buyer speed figure finally inch forward. Now he's going to have to step up against some older horses, but I think he has some tactical speed. And if this pace quickens up, if the 1 and the 3 make The Sound work early, maybe Great Faces can get a piece of this at a price.
Yeah, we'll see. I do feel like he's going to need to catch some breaks to go with this field, though, Dan. He's going to have to improve again off of that race we just watched. And he's going to have to do it against what I think is a pretty solid field for this level.
Warriors mapped the number 8, won at Oaklawn during the 2020 meeting, then went on a bit of a cold streak, and I thought he got a brilliant ride last time out at the fairgrounds when pulling off a mild upset. He was hustled very hard out of the gate to obtain a clear and uncontested lead. He got a little bit of a breather, not much. He was very game to win that race because he was confronted by a couple of horses in the stretch. Now I want to see him do it again from off of the pace.
Yeah, and that's the real problem with this horse too, Dan. He's won twice in his career, and both of the races that he's won came where he showed, I guess you would want to say, surprising speed to somehow wind up on the lead both times. Otherwise, he really hasn't been that inspiring. It feels like there's no chance he makes the early lead in here. So what's he going to do from off the pace?
Jungle Runner, the number 9, if you simply look at his form, you're kind of going to crinkle your nose and turn it up a bit. His most recent start was back in June when he finished last in the Belmont. His prior race, he finished next to last in the Arkansas Derby, placed 7th of 9th. The race before that, he was last in the Mind That Bird Derby. The race before that, he was next to last in the Smarty Jones Stakes. Why was Steve Asmussen running him in those spots? He must think this horse at least has a little bit of something, and I wouldn't be surprised if this horse is ready off the layoff. This is the easiest company he's faced in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, finally coming back in his available condition anyway, just to see what he does. Listen, I'll admit I was sort of onto this horse early on. I thought he was a pretty good horse, and after his first few starts, I really liked his Clever Trevor. I realize that this is a better spot for him. We'll see when we get off the layoff. I always sort of held the position on him, though, Dan, that I didn't really like him going longer. I liked him going shorter. I wonder what he'll do here. This is a better spot for him. I think I'm going to watch one as much as I like this horse.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Friday race of the day. I have to admit that we're going to learn a lot more about the Sound. I'm not completely sold on this horse. I thought his last race was okay. It wasn't great. If it wasn't a 104 buyer speed figure, I'm not sure it would be anything out of the ordinary. But I think that this horse is going to get to the lead again, and that could be the key in this race, the way Cox is going. You're going with Mimosa. How do you ride Mimosa? He's kind of a speed horse. He has a speed horse to his inside, but more importantly, a speed horse to his outside.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's going to be able to do, I guess, if he can't make the lead in here. Although I will say, I thought his Oklahoma Derby was good, and he didn't have the lead in that race. To me, in a lot of ways, that's the best race he's ever run. Listen, I won't be shocked when the sound is just too good for these horses and wins, but I really don't want that short a price on him because I'm not sold on him just yet. Maybe he'll make a believer out of me on Friday. I'm going to try to beat him with the 3.
Well, you're getting 12-1 on the morning line on a graded stakes placed colt, Mimosa. You're going 3, 6, 2, and 4. I'm going 6, 8, 4, and 2. It's the Friday race of the day. It's race number 8 at beautiful Oaklawn Park with an approximate post time of 4:40 Central Time. Best of luck.